On day one, the shift is subtle. You feel a flicker of focus, a small drop of silence in the chaos. Your mind doesn't race as fast. You catch yourself before wasting time. That's not luck. That's your system recalibrating. Even after a single day of semen retention, your body begins to redirect energy. Instead of scattering it through overstimulation or emotional drain, it stores that force. And that stored force starts feeding your attention, your decisions, your presence. The body knows what to do with retained power. It doesn't waste it, it sharpens it. One day in, you begin to sense a higher standard is possible, but only if you stay with it. At 100 days, everything changes. Your presence becomes a weapon. The first 24 hours of retention feel quiet on the surface, but inside your system, something vital begins. The parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and reset mode, starts to take back control from the hyperactive fight or flight state. This isn't about suddenly feeling zen. It's more grounded than that. Your breath slows a little. Your thoughts don't spiral as fast. The nervous system isn't bracing for threats anymore. It's beginning to recalibrate. And that small shift is everything, because when you're not constantly on edge, your body starts rebuilding instead of reacting. Even without noticing it, you're stepping out of chaos and into control. Your brain chemistry responds quickly to this shift. One of the first markers is acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that helps with calm focus and precise thinking. Within a day of retention, levels begin to balance. You feel it in moments of stillness. You're not as jumpy. Your attention begins to hold. You're not reaching for distractions out of habit anymore. It's as if a mental fog begins to lift, not all at once, but layer by layer. The internal noise softens and space opens up in your head. Space for better thoughts, better choices, better reactions. Dopamine, the engine behind cravings and compulsive behavior, also starts responding. The overstimulation loop begins to weaken. You scroll less. You snack less. You're not yanked around by micro urges like before. That doesn't mean your willpower has suddenly multiplied. It means your system isn't being hijacked by constant spikes and crashes. Retention signals to the brain store, not scatter, and the brain listens. Slowly, it stops craving distraction and starts craving depth. That shift in craving is what lays the foundation for long-term focus and high-level performance. You might not feel heroic or transformed in the first day, but your biology is already moving. You're no longer pouring out the energy your brain needs to regulate and restore itself. You're no longer feeding the loop of overstimulation. Retention holds your charge. It protects your chemistry. It gives your nervous system the green light to step out of emergency mode and return to balance. That balance is quiet, but it's also powerful. It's the first step to reclaiming the mind from the noise. What begins as subtle calm turns into something more over time. But the reason the first 24 hours matter is because they start the rewiring. Your brain begins to trust that the threat is gone. Your body senses it can build instead of brace. Your focus starts sharpening. Not because you forced it, but because the systems responsible for it finally have fuel again. It's not a leap, it's a turn. One small, quiet turn in the right direction. But from this angle, the entire path ahead begins to change. By day 30, you're not guessing anymore. Your system is operating on a different setting. The testosterone spike that began early on doesn't just stay elevated. It levels out into a stable rhythm. And that rhythm matters more than raw numbers. It's not just high testosterone that changes your life. It's balanced testosterone paired with regulated dopamine and calibrated oxytocin. These three form a triangle that shapes how you think, move, and connect. You don't just feel stronger. You become more emotionally steady, less reactive, and more in control of what you chase and what you ignore. It's not intensity. It's precision. The real change shows up in your ability to wait, to plan, to choose. Impulse control strengthens without effort. The urge to waste time, energy, or attention loses its grip. Socially, you're more tuned in. You don't just talk. You speak with intention. You don't just react. You read the room and act deliberately. That's not because you've read a script or watched a motivation video. It's your chemicals working in sync. The background chaos is gone. Your system isn't sending mixed signals anymore. It's moving as one unit. That kind of internal unity isn't common, but at day 30, it becomes normal. Underneath all of this is a shift most people never notice. The way your body uses energy changes. At the cellular level, ATP, the fuel source for every movement, thought, and breath, is managed more efficiently. You're not just energized in bursts, you become consistently capable. Your muscles don't fatigue as easily. Your brain doesn't crash mid-afternoon. The recovery loop that once slowed you down gets shorter. Why? Because you're not constantly draining your reserves. Retention stops the leak, and the body repurposes that energy into endurance and output. You're no longer running on fumes. This improvement in cellular economy is what separates the scattered from the focused. Most people are always chasing recovery. You're already at performance. Your body doesn't need to constantly rebuild from depletion anymore. Instead, it directs that freed up energy toward growth. It starts optimizing, not just maintaining. You sleep better, train smarter, and work longer, not because you're forcing it, but because your body now has the reserves to support it. Retention isn't giving you something new. It's giving you back what you've been spending unconsciously for years. At this stage, you're not riding waves of hype. You're standing on structure. The chemistry that once sabotaged your focus now supports your ambition. The energy you used to waste gets redirected into building a version of you that's calm under pressure, consistent in action, and magnetic in presence. Hormone optimization through retention isn't a performance hack. It's a biological return to form. 30 days in, your system stops scrambling for balance. It finds it. And once that happens, you don't chase power. You hold it. Quietly. Permanently. By day 100, something permanent clicks into place. Retention stops being something you do. It becomes who you are. The grind of forcing discipline fades, because now it's natural. Your brain isn't chasing dopamine highs or short-term wins. The nervous system isn't reacting to every emotional wave. Your choices come from a place that's calm, controlled, and clear. And this isn't about suppressing desire. It's about mastering it. Your biology and your psychology sink into a steady rhythm. Retention becomes your foundation, not a fight. It rewrites your identity, quietly but completely. The brain regions that drive self-awareness and planning, the insula and anterior cingulate cortex, start firing with consistency. You become better at watching your thoughts instead of being pulled by them. Strategic thinking sharpens. Emotional impulsiveness fades. The need to constantly prove something disappears. Instead of looking outward for cues, you reference inward. What used to feel uncertain now feels obvious. The volume on external opinions turns down. You lead from within. That inner voice is no longer shaky or unsure. It's stable, because it's finally uninterrupted by depletion or desperation. You don't feel euphoric. You feel unshakable. That's the point. The highs are gone, but so are the lows. The drama doesn't touch you. The distractions don't stick. The doubts don't matter. People can sense it. There's a weight in your presence that can't be faked. And that weight comes from energy that's been built, not borrowed. The clarity you walk with isn't for show. It's rooted in chemistry, structure, and restraint. You've earned your way into this version of yourself, and now you stay there without effort. When the brain, the nervous system, and your hormone profile are aligned, the world starts reflecting your internal state. Opportunities show up faster. People respond to your voice. You handle stress without leaking power. You're not hustling for attention. You move with intention. That's what day 100 gives you. Not just control over urges, but command over your entire direction. The game changes because you've changed. And once this version of you emerges, nothing, absolutely nothing, can take it away.